Sir,
Beezy's voice
don't
tore
eat the
through the
food.
dining room
Oh.
like a cutlass slicing through silent air. Plates rattled. Forks froze mid-air. And everyone at the long mahogany table stared at her as though she had just lost her mind. The room, the grand dining hall of Damelair Owolabi, Lagos billionaire, tech mogul, philanthropist, and one of the most feared men in business, fell into a thick, suffocating silence. Only the ceiling fan hummed. Only Beezy's breath trembled. And only Damelair's wife, reacted, her eyes widening for half a second before she quickly masked her shock with a smile. A slow, poisonous smile. "Excuse me," said sweetly, pushing back her chair. "What did you just say to my husband?" Beezy swallowed hard. "Ma, the food. It's not safe." Before anyone else could respond, the camera for Stories Stoner's narration moment flashed in Beezy's head, the thought they always used at the start. What would you do if someone screamed this at your family dinner? If you've ever faced betrayal, hit like right now and comment where you're watching from. But back in the story's reality, it was no joke. Because Beezy wasn't guessing. She knew. She had seen something. Something she shouldn't have. Something that made her hands shake and her heart thunder like the lagoon during storm season. Damelair slowly lowered his spoon. His deep baritone voice tightened. "Beezy, why would you say such a thing?" Stepped closer to her husband and placed a protective hand on his shoulder. "My dear, ignore her. She's overwhelmed. These village girls break down when they see a house bigger than their entire community." There were soft chuckles from the cousins seated around the table. Fake, uncomfortable chuckles. Everyone knew could be cruel. But today she sounded threatened. Beezy kept her eyes on the bowl of pepper soup in front of Damelair. Steam rose from it. The sweet, spicy aroma of fresh catfish mixed with yuda seeds filled the air. It should have smelled delicious. But to Beezy, it smelled like death. And she couldn't let him take another spoon. "Yes, I saw something," she said, voice shaking but firm. "I saw, madam, I saw." Slammed her palm on the table, making several guests jump. "You will not finish that sentence," she snapped. Damelair slowly turned to his wife. His deep-set eyes narrowed. "Let her talk." "No," said sharply, grabbing his wrist. "You don't deserve this embarrassment. Not tonight, not in front of your family." Another cousin muttered, "No war o, wetin day sup?" Beezy could feel the heat of everyone's stare. She could feel her job slipping away, her life maybe even in danger. But she remembered the look on F's face earlier, the cold determination, the whispered call over the phone, the tiny bottle she poured into the pot when she thought no one was watching. Beezy took a shaky step forward. "Sir, if you eat that soup," her voice cracked, "you won't wake up tomorrow morning." Gasps scattered across the room. Damelair looked from Beezy to his wife. He said quietly, "did you cook this food?" "No," she replied smoothly. "But I supervised. As always." "And did you enter the kitchen around 5 p.m. today?" Beezy pressed. F's nostrils flared. "How dare you question me, you disrespectful girl." "You did," Beezy whispered. "I saw you." Someone at the table murmured, "This is getting serious." Damelair lifted the bowl to his nose and inhaled lightly. His brow furrowed. "It smells normal." "That's how this type works," Beezy said quickly. "It doesn't change color. It doesn't change scent. I heard her on the phone. She said you'll sleep early today." Beezy's voice rose again. "Sir, I beg you in God's name, don't eat it." F's chair screeched against the floor as she sprang up. "You evil child," she screamed. "You want to scatter my home? You think you can accuse me of poisoning my own husband? Are you mad?" Beezy flinched but held her ground. Because the truth was, F could do it. Everyone knew their marriage was crumbling. Everyone knew Damelair had been spending more nights at the office. Rumors swirled of infidelity. Hers, his, both. Nobody knew which side to believe anymore. But what Beezy heard earlier, hiding behind the pantry door, was not rumor. It was confession. The tension burst when Grandma Ireti, the elder matriarch, slammed her cane on the floor. "Enough," she barked. "Nobody is leaving this table. We will get to the truth tonight." She pointed at the oldest cousin. "Go and call the driver. Lock the gate. Nobody enters, nobody leaves." F's head snapped toward Grandma. "Mama, are you supporting this nonsense?" "I am supporting my son's life," Grandma fired back. The room buzzed with whispers. Beezy felt tears sting her eyes. She didn't want to be here. She didn't want to expose anything. She just wanted her small, quiet job. But she also didn't want to see her employer, the only person who treated her with kindness, die. Damelaire placed both palms on the table. "Beezy," he said, voice low and steady, "tell me exactly what you saw." Everyone leaned in. Everyone knew this was it. The moment that would either expose a deep, ugly betrayal, or destroy an innocent girl. Beezy inhaled shakily. "Sir, around 5, I was putting away groceries in the pantry. Madam entered the kitchen. She told the chef to go and rest because she wanted to surprise you." F raised her chin. "Yes. I said that. What's suspicious about giving my husband a special meal?" "That's not all," Beezy whispered. "You locked the door." A wave of whispers surged across the table. F laughed loudly. Too loudly. "This is ridiculous. Kitchens have locks, so? What nonsense is this girl?" "I saw you pour something from a small brown bottle into the pepper soup pot," Beezy said in a rush. Damelaire's eyes widened. The table erupted. "Jesus. My God. Is it true? What kind of bottle?" F grabbed a napkin, dabbing her forehead. "You liar. You useless village liar. If I wanted to poison my husband, why would I do it when staff could see me?" Beezy shook her head. "You thought I had gone upstairs." F froze. Just for a moment. And that moment was enough. Even the cutlery seemed to stop vibrating. Damelaire sat back slowly. His voice was deadly calm. "F. What was in the bottle?" His wife's throat bobbed. "It was herbs," she said finally. "Traditional herbs for fertility. I wanted to strengthen your body. You've been stressed. I didn't want to embarrass you by explaining it in front of staff. That's why I kept it secret." A few relatives nodded sympathetically. But Damelaire didn't. His eyes bore holes into her soul. "Which herbalist?" he asked. She blinked. "What? Which herbalist gave you the mixture? Name." F looked around helplessly. "My dear, you know I see different ones. I can't remember every name." "That's strange," Grandma said coolly, "because real medicine men don't put herbs inside brown pharmaceutical bottles." A shiver ran across the entire table. F's lips parted, but no words came out. Damelaire pushed the bowl away from him. "Driver," he shouted. "Bring the security kit, now." 2 guards rushed in moments later with a chemical test kit the billionaire insisted every kitchen in his home must keep. Food safety, he always said. Anyone can be targeted. Today, the irony hung thick. One guard collected a sample of the soup while the other set up the rapid test. F's voice cracked. "Damelaire, you can't possibly believe this nonsense." "I don't know what to believe," he said quietly. "But I will know the truth." Everyone watched as the chemical strip dipped into the soup sample. 5 seconds passed. 10 seconds. Then, the strip turned bright, angry blue. Gasps exploded across the room. "Ah! Blood of Jesus! She was actually trying to. Is that poison?" The guard swallowed. "Sir, the food contains a sedative compound. Very strong. If consumed in this quantity, it can slow the heart rate to dangerous levels." The silence that followed was colder than harmattan air. F collapsed into her chair, face pale. Damelaire stood up so slowly the chair barely made a sound. His voice shook with betrayal. F, why? Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. I can explain. You better, he whispered, before I call the police. The entire table erupted into chaos. Shouting, crying, accusations flying. But through it all, Damelaire stared only at Beezy. At the girl who saved his life. At the girl he now wondered why she had been watching his wife so closely. And Beezy, shaking, terrified, looked back at him. She knew the next question he would ask. She wasn't ready for it. Not tonight. Not after what she had witnessed. Not after what she had overheard F whisper on that phone call. After tonight, everything becomes mine. As the guards moved toward F, and the room descended into chaos, Damelaire stepped closer to Beezy, his voice low, dangerous. What else did you hear? Beezy's heart nearly stopped. Because if she told him, everything would change. Forever. What do you think Beezy heard that could destroy the entire Owolabi marriage? Comment below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories, stoner dramas. F's voice ripped through the room as two security guards approached her. She pushed her chair back so violently it toppled over and clattered across the marble floor. Her eyes were wild now. Gone was the polished billionaire's wife, replaced by someone cornered, frightened, and desperate. The entire family watched in stunned silence. Damelaire remained standing, his tall frame casting a long shadow across the dining table. His expression was a battlefield of pain, disbelief, and fury. But when he spoke, his voice was terrifyingly steady. F, sit down. She shook her head, stepping backward toward the wall as though trying to keep everyone in sight. You think I would poison you? You, my husband. After everything we've built. Stop lying, Grandma Iriti snapped. If not for this girl, we would be planning burial by tomorrow morning. The older woman pointed a trembling finger at Beezy. Beezy immediately dropped her gaze to the floor. Her heart thudded uncontrollably against her ribs. She didn't want attention, not from the family, not from the guards, and definitely not from F. Because F's eyes kept darting to her. With hatred. With fear. With something else too, something calculating. Damelaire took a step closer to his wife. You're going to explain what happened in that kitchen. F swallowed. Her voice softened, shifting into an emotional plea. Dare. Honey. I've made mistakes in this marriage. I know that. But poisoning you? That's not who I am. Then who are you? He demanded. The room held its breath. F's jaw clenched. Her eyes glistened. For a moment, it looked like she would break down. Instead, she pulled in a sharp breath, straightened her shoulders, and snapped her head toward Beezy. This is her doing. She hates me. The room erupted with murmurs again. Me. Beezy's voice trembled. Ma, I don't. Shut up. F barked. Several relatives gasped. Damelaire shot his wife a warning look, but she continued. This girl has been obsessed with my husband from the first day she entered this house. Always looking at him with those pitiful eyes. Always finding excuses to be near him. Always running silly errands. I've noticed it. Everyone has. She swept her glare across the table. Don't pretend you haven't seen the way she looks at him. Beezy felt the air rush out of her lungs. Her legs nearly buckled. Sir, please, she whispered. But F wasn't done. This is all part of her plan. She wants sympathy. She wants to destroy our marriage so you will notice her. Stop, Damelaire said sharply. But F kept talking, her voice rising. She's lying about the kitchen. She's lying about everything. She wants you for herself. Gasps. Shocked whispers. Eyes turning toward Beezy with sudden suspicion. Beezy's palms turned clammy. Her throat burned. Sir, I swear. Damelaire slammed his fist on the table so hard the plates jumped. Enough. Even the guards froze. He jabbed a finger toward the soup bowl. That test did not lie. But she set me up. F cried. She could have added something to the pot before serving. That's impossible, Grandma cut in. I watched Beezy serve the food myself. She didn't step anywhere near the stove. She came straight from the pantry. F's head jerked toward the old woman. So you're on her side too? I'm on the side of life. Grandma fired back. Damelaire's voice returned, deep and low. This is not about sides. We will find out the truth. He looked at Beezy again. His gaze still burned with intensity. You said you heard something earlier. Something more than just the bottle. Tell me. Beezy's tongue stuck to the roof of her mouth. Suddenly her throat felt too tight to speak. Because what she heard was truly dangerous. Not only to F, but possibly to herself. She glanced around. Every eye in the room was locked on her. She could feel the weight of their suspicion, or their hope, or their anger. She wasn't sure which was worse. I'm waiting, Damelaire said. Beezy squeezed her trembling hands together. Sir, I heard Madam on the phone. She said after tonight, everything would finally belong to her. The room froze. Damelaire took a step back. F flinched as though slapped. And, Beezy continued, her voice barely a whisper, she said. He won't disturb my plans again. A stunned silence spread across the table like smoke. F's mouth fell open. That's not true. But her voice had lost its strength. Her face had lost its mask. Damelaire stared at her with a mixture of heartbreak and horror. F, who were you talking to? No one. Don't lie to me. It was. She paused, eyes darting wildly. It was my cousin. I was ranting about our marriage. That's all. Which cousin? He demanded. She looked down. Everyone saw it. The guilt. The fear. The truth she didn't want to reveal. One uncle leaned over and whispered loudly, this is a clear case of domestic betrayal. Another relative hissed, infidelity will cause war like this. I knew something was off. A cousin added, revenge story turning to real life. Oh. The murmurs grew louder, cheating spouse, manipulation, marriage drama, co-parenting conflict, because everyone knew the couple had struggled with that too. Quiet. Damelaire barked. Silence fell instantly. He turned to his head of security. Get her phone. F gasped. No. You can't go through my phone, Dare. That's invasion of privacy. Someone tried to poison me tonight, he replied coldly. Privacy is no longer your problem. She began to shake. Don't do this. But the guard was already heading upstairs. F rushed after him, grabbing his arm. Don't you dare touch my things. Sit down, Damelaire commanded. No. Sit down. His voice was so commanding, so sharp that even the walls seemed to echo it. Slowly, reluctantly, F returned to her seat. Grandma sighed loudly. This marriage don't reach finish line. One of the aunts nodded, fanning herself dramatically. Public disgrace on top billions. Chai. Damelaire turned back to Beezy. From now on, you don't leave my sight. You're the only one who knows what happened. F's head snapped toward him. What? Beezy nearly choked. Sir, please. But before anyone could react further, the security guard jogged back in, holding a sleek gold and white phone. F lunged to grab it. He stepped back, avoiding her. She reached again. He blocked her. Give me my phone, she screamed. No, Damelaire said. Unlock it. I won't. Unlock it, he repeated, voice dangerously calm. When she still refused, he added quietly, if you do not unlock it right now, I will take it to the police first thing in the morning and let the cyber unit break into it. And I promise you, every message, every call, every hidden file will be exposed to the entire world. A visible tremor ran across F's shoulders. Everyone waited. After several painful seconds, her fingers shook as she typed in the passcode. The phone unlocked. Billionaire took it from her hand. He scrolled. He scrolled again. The family held their breath. He opened her call logs. His jaw clenched. He opened her messages. His nostrils flared. He clicked on a chat labeled with a name nobody at the table recognized. Not a cousin. Not a friend. Not a woman. But a man. A man who had texted earlier that evening. Is it done? The room exploded. F cried out. It's not what you think. Billionaire threw the phone on the table. I trusted you. I trusted you with my home, my heart, everything I built. Tears streamed down her face. Please. Please listen. But Billionaire turned away from her. Toward Beezy. Toward the girl who had become the center of the storm. The girl who saved his life. The girl who, at that moment, didn't look like a maid at all, but the only person he could trust. He stepped closer. Beezy. I need you to tell me everything you know. Every detail. Every word you heard. Because this, he pointed at the chat, the phone, the soup, his wife, is only the beginning. Beezy's breath hitched. It was too much. Too dangerous. Too heavy for someone like her. Sir, she whispered, there is something else I didn't tell you. Billionaire froze. F's eyes went wide. The relatives leaned forward. What is it? He asked. Beezy swallowed hard. When Madam finished talking on the phone, she said. Her voice dropped to a trembling whisper. She said you were not supposed to die alone. A collective gasp tore through the room. What does that mean? A cousin shouted. Who else she won kill? Another cried. Billionaire's eyes narrowed. Beezy, explain. She shook her head. A tear escaped her eye. I think the plan was not just for you. Then who? He demanded. The room leaned in. The lights flickered. The tension sat heavy like smoke. Beezy opened her mouth. But before she could speak, a loud metallic bang erupted from the backyard. Everyone jumped. The guards drew their weapons. And F began to smile. A slow, knowing, chilling smile. As though she had been waiting for that sound. As though whatever was coming next was far worse than anyone expected. Everybody, down. One of the guards shouted as another metallic bang echoed from the backyard. This one louder, sharper, like someone had slammed a gate with all their strength, or forced it open. The dining room erupted into chaos. Chairs screeched. Relatives ducked under the table. Someone screamed the name of Jesus 3 times. Grandma Iriti clutched her cane, muttering prayers under her breath. But through all the noise, all the panic, all the scrambling, F stood still. Still. And smiling. That smile froze everyone who noticed it. It wasn't the smile of a frightened woman. It wasn't the smile of a wife accused of poisoning her billionaire husband. It was a smile of someone whose backup plan had just arrived. The guards rushed toward the back entrance. The security chief barked orders into his walkie-talkie. Unit 3, report. What's going on at the back gate? Static answered. No voice. No report. Nothing. Billionaire's jaw clenched. Why aren't they responding? Before anyone could answer, another loud crash came from outside. This time it was unmistakable, the sound of boots rushing across gravel. More than one person. More than one pair of feet. Heavy. Purposeful. Coming closer. Beezy grabbed the edge of the table, kneeling instinctively. Her chest heaved, her breath coming out in shallow bursts. She had never been in the middle of anything like this. She didn't grow up around wealth or danger or betrayal. Definitely not billionaires and poison plots. But now she was the center of everything. Because she knew something the rest of them didn't. She knew who the second target was. She had heard it on the phone. She had heard the way F whispered the words with venom. The girl too. She knows too much. The girl. Her. But before she could say anything, the kitchen door slammed open. Everyone screamed. A guard burst in, covered in sweat, panting heavily. "Sir," he gasped. Someone breached the back fence. They're heavily armed. Looks like hired men. Relatives cried out. Some fainted. One of the uncles was already on his knees repenting for sins nobody had accused him of. Billionaire turned to F, his voice shaking with rage. "What have you done?" F shrugged lightly, still smiling. "You should have eaten the food, Dare. It would have been so clean. So quiet. So peaceful. You're insane." "I'm practical," she replied calmly. "And you left me no choice." Beezy's breath caught. Everything inside her screamed to run. To hide. To disappear. But she couldn't leave. Not when Billionaire looked like he was only seconds away from collapsing under the weight of betrayal. Not when the guards were shouting about intruders. Not when F's eyes kept drifting toward her. Like she was the real threat F wanted eliminated. Billionaire gestured sharply at the nearest guard. "Get my mother out of here. Everyone into the panic room. Now." The relatives scrambled up from the floor, bumping into furniture and each other, rushing toward the hallway. Grandma Iriti leaned heavily on her cane. "Dare. Come with us. I'll join you soon," he said. "Just go." But F laughed. Laughed. "Do you think running will save you? These are not ordinary men, Dare. I planned this. I planned everything." One guard lunged forward to restrain her. F stepped back and lifted her hand. A small, sleek black device glinted between her fingers. "Don't touch me," she said, voice cold. "Or everyone in this house dies tonight." The guard froze. "Sir. That's a detonator." Billionaire's eyes widened. "F. What is that?" "A safety measure," she answered. "In case you didn't cooperate." "You wouldn't." "Try me," she whispered. The guard looked at Billionaire helplessly. Another crash sounded from the backyard. The windows rattled. Footsteps pounded closer. Voices barked orders outside. Billionaire swallowed hard, trying to keep calm. "F. What do you want?" Her eyes gleamed with bitter triumph. "Everything you denied me. Everything you hid from me. Everything you promised me and never delivered. I gave you the world." "No," she spat. "You gave me crumbs. You gave everyone the impression of a perfect marriage while you were planning to divorce me." Billionaire blinked. "What? You think I didn't know?" she hissed. "All the late nights. All the secret meetings with your lawyers. All the property transfers? You were preparing to throw me out. After I built your empire with you. After I gave you everything." The relatives gasped. Even the guards stared in shock. "F," Billionaire said, "I wasn't planning to divorce you." Another lie. Or the truth. Everyone's eyes were on him. F shook her head, her voice trembling with rage. "I saw the documents. The will. The trust fund. The transfer of assets. You were freezing me out of the estate." "That's not true," Billionaire said. "It is true," she screamed, lifting the detonator higher. "You were leaving everything too." She stopped. Her gaze drifted slowly, accusingly. To Beezy. Beezy's breath hitched. "Ma, please." "You," F hissed. The room fell silent. "You're the reason. You think I didn't see the way he defends you? The way you always appear where he is? The way he looks at you like you're the only honest person in this world?" "F, stop this madness," Billionaire barked. But F wasn't listening. She lunged toward Beezy so fast the guards didn't have time to react. "You should have kept your mouth shut," she snarled. Beezy stumbled backward, tripping against a chair. Her body shook with fear. She raised her arms instinctively to protect her face. One guard rushed forward. But F jabbed the detonator toward him. One more step and I blow this house. The guard froze mid-stride. Billionaire raised both hands, trying to calm her. F, listen. You're angry. You're hurt. But think about what you're doing. Think about the consequences. The consequences, she said, voice trembling with dark excitement. Oh, dare. The consequences have already begun. Outside, several windows shattered. Gunshots cracked in the night. Screams followed. The guards inside tensed immediately. Sir, they're inside the compound. Seal the doors. Barricade the dining entrance. People rushed to obey. But F only laughed again. You can't stop them. Even if I drop this, they will finish my job. They know exactly who to take out. In what order? Her eyes slid back to Beezy. The girl too. She knows too much. Beezy felt her heart squeeze painfully. She knew. She knew the second target. She knew F had hired these men with clear instructions. But the worst part. They weren't just here for Billionaire. They were here for her. Because Beezy had seen too much. Because Beezy had heard too much. Because Beezy had ruined the plan. She could hear the men outside shouting. Check the back door. Break the window. Find them. Finish the job. The dining room lights flickered. Billionaire moved toward F slowly, carefully. Listen to me. Drop the detonator. Let's talk. Let's fix this. We can still handle this quietly. No, she screamed. I'm tired of fixing things quietly. I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of being the wife you only keep because it looks good for your image. That's not true. It is true. Now move back. He didn't. He took another small step toward her. No, she shrieked. The detonator slipped in her shaking hand. Everyone gasped. One guard lunged. F jerked backward instinctively. The detonator hit the floor. Everyone dove to the ground. Nothing happened. Silence. F blinked. The detonator wasn't connected. Her face drained of color. You disconnected it, she whispered. You disconnected it. Billionaire stepped forward, holding up a tiny wire between his fingers. It's fake, he said quietly. It would never have gone off. F stared at him, stunned. Before she could react, two guards grabbed her arms and pinned them behind her back. No. Leave me. Let me go, she screamed, thrashing violently. You can't do this to me. I am your wife. Not anymore, Billionaire said, voice cracking with heartbreak. As the guards restrained her, another guard rushed into the room. Sir. The intruders. I know, Billionaire said. Get everyone into the panic room. Now. But the guard shook his head. Sir. There's a bigger problem. What? The intruders aren't just here for you. The guard swallowed. They're asking, specifically, for the maid. Every head snapped toward Beezy. Her knees weakened instantly. Her stomach twisted. Her vision blurred. The fear that had been simmering now roared into full panic. Me, she whispered. The guard nodded. They said they were instructed to take you. Alive. F, still struggling on the floor, looked up with a cold, wicked smile. And whispered, "Phase 2. A chill ran through Beezy's entire body. The room spun. The guards grabbed her, pulling her behind Damelaire for protection. But Beezy knew the truth. This wasn't about the food anymore. This wasn't about jealousy. This wasn't even about the marriage. This was bigger. Much bigger. And she was right at the center of the storm. Keep her in the middle. Don't let her out of your sight. The head guard's voice thundered as he pulled Beezy behind him. Another guard shielded her from the side, forming a protective barrier as the once elegant dining room transformed into a war zone of panic, movement, and dread. Beezy could barely feel her legs. Her body trembled uncontrollably. Her mind raced like a trapped bird slamming against its cage. The intruders were in the compound. They were armed. They were coming for her. Alive. Why alive? Why her? She didn't understand. She didn't even know enough to be worth kidnapping. She was just a maid, one who earned barely enough to send money home to her younger siblings. She had no family connections, no hidden wealth, no secrets. But then her eyes darted to F. The woman kneeling on the floor, hands pinned behind her back, tears streaking her face, yet smiling like a serpent who still believed it would strike again. Why me? Beezy whispered. F heard her. And her smile widened. You don't even know, do you? F whispered hoarsely. You don't know who you really are in all of this. Beezy's heart dropped. What are you talking about? But before F could answer, another explosion shook the back of the house. This one closer. Too close. A window shattered. Smoke drifted into the dining room like a dark omen. Loud commands echoed outside. Split up. Left flank move. Search everywhere. They can't be far. The guards inside the house scrambled into formation. Damelaire stepped forward, finally taking full control of the chaos. His face was pale but fierce. Everyone move toward the panic room now, he ordered. Grandma Iriti, trembling but still commanding respect with a single glance, clutched her cane and nodded. You heard him. Move. The relatives rushed toward the hallway. Some were barefoot. Some were crying. Some were praying loudly. Others whispered about infidelity, cheating spouse drama, betrayal. Words that had hovered around the Owolabi marriage for years but had never been this real, this visible, this life and death. The family's perfect image had shattered, right there on the marble floor alongside broken dishes and spilled pepper soup. 2 guards supported Grandma. Another 3 escorted the relatives. But Damelaire didn't move. He turned to Beezy. Stay with me. Her breath caught. Sir. I said stay with me, he repeated, eyes intense. It wasn't a request. It was protection. But it felt like pressure. Heavy pressure. She shouldn't be beside him. She wasn't family. She wasn't important. Yet he was treating her like she mattered more than anyone else. F noticed that too. Oh dare, she sneered. You're making it too obvious. Shut your mouth, he snapped. But F threw her head back and laughed. You're willing to risk your whole family for her? You dragged everyone into danger because of one useless maid. Beezy flinched. The words sliced deep. Don't talk about her, Damelaire growled. F's smile turned poisonous. Ah, look at you, protecting her. I knew it. You know nothing, he fired back. But his tone wavered. Just slightly. And that waver wasn't lost on anyone. Not on the guards, not on the few cousins still lingering near the doorway, and definitely not on F. She leaned forward, eyes glittering. Tell them, dare. Tell them why she's so important to you. Beezy's pulse quickened. Sir. Damelaire didn't look at her. He didn't look at anyone. He simply turned away. Move, he ordered the guards. Get her out of here. But before they could take a step, a loud crash reverberated through the corridor. Then the unmistakable sound of boots pounding toward them. Intruders in the hallway, a guard shouted from outside. Gunshots cracked. Someone screamed. F cackled like a woman possessed. Them don't reach, she whispered. Your guards cannot stop them. The head guard barricaded the dining entrance with a heavy wooden table. Sir, we need to evacuate now. Dammelair grabbed Beezy by the wrist. Come. Follow me. The warmth of his hand startled her. His touch was firm, protective, almost too protective. He pulled her toward the side corridor leading to the panic room. The guards closed ranks around them. But halfway through the passage, the lights flickered, buzzed, died. Total darkness swallowed the hallway. A chill swept across every spine. Power cut, a guard whispered. No, said another, voice tight. Someone shut it off manually. Footsteps echoed. Slow, deliberate, coming from ahead. They weren't running. They weren't hiding. They were approaching with confidence. The head guard cocked his gun. Identify yourselves. No answer. Only more footsteps. Closer. Beezy squeezed her eyes shut. She didn't want to be here. She didn't want to be hunted. She didn't want any of this. Stay behind me, Dammelair whispered, stepping in front of her. His back shielded her entirely. But Beezy felt something shift inside her chest. Why? Why was he doing this? He had family. He had guards. He had power. He had resources. But at that moment, he was protecting only her. One of the guards flicked on his flashlight. The beam revealed 3 men standing at the far end of the hallway, broad-shouldered, dressed in black, faces hardened. Their movements were disciplined, silent, efficient. Not street thugs. Professionals. One lifted his weapon. The guards reacted instantly, yelling and firing. The hallway crackled with sound. Bullets, sparks, shouts, echoes. Smoke filled the air. Move! Dammelair shouted, dragging Beezy back as the guards engaged. But the men weren't aiming at Dammelair. They weren't aiming at the guards. Their eyes were locked on her. Target confirmed, one of them said into a small comm device. Beezy's knees buckled. Why? She cried. What do you want from me? None of them answered. None of them blinked. None of them hesitated. Their orders were clear. Their mission was singular. And she was the mission. A guard turned to Dammelair urgently. Sir, the panic room is blocked. They came through that side first. Then we find another way, he said. There is no other way. Then we make one. Dammelair pulled Beezy into a side room, a storage hallway filled with old furniture and dusty artwork. He locked the door. The guards pushed heavy boxes in front of it to barricade it. Sir, one guard said quietly, we might not hold them off long. Dammelair turned to Beezy, his face etched with a mixture of fear and determination. Beezy, listen to me. There is a reason they want you. She shook her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. I don't know anything. I swear I don't. But they think you do, he said. What information could a maid have that's worth hiring killers? One guard muttered. Dammelair looked at her with an expression she couldn't read. Sadness. Fear. Regret. All 3. Then he said the words that froze her blood. They believe you overheard something bigger than the poisoning. Beezy blinked. Bigger. Yes. His jaw tightened. Something you didn't even realize was important. Her mind raced. She replayed the phone call she heard earlier. F whispering. Talking low. Mentioning tonight. Mentioning everything becoming hers. Mentioning. Her breath caught. The last thing F said before leaving the kitchen. A sentence Beezy had tried to forget because it made no sense. A sentence that now slammed into her chest like a sledgehammer. Sir, she whispered, trembling. I think I know why they want me. Dammelair leaned closer. Tell me. But before she could open her mouth, The door behind them boomed violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. "They're breaking through," a guard shouted. Another violent bang shook the room. Splinters flew. The hinges bent. Beezy screamed. And through the crack in the door, she saw it. A pair of cold eyes staring directly at her. "Found her." Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories for stoner dramas. "Break the door. Now." The command thundered through the narrow hallway, making the walls vibrate. Beezy clung to the side of an old wooden shelf, her heart shaking so violently she thought it might burst. The guards pushed harder against the barricade of boxes, chairs, and dusty artwork, but the intruders hammered relentlessly from the other side. "Hold it! Hold it!" the head guard barked. The door shuddered again. A hinge snapped. Beezy screamed and covered her ears. The intruders were seconds from breaking through. Billionaire grabbed Beezy by the arms, forcing her to look up at him. His breathing was ragged, eyes burning with urgency. "Tell me what you heard," he demanded. I didn't think it meant anything," she whispered. "Beezy, for them to come this far, it must mean everything. What did you hear F say?" Her voice cracked as she answered. She said, "Once he signs the transfer, everything becomes ours." Billionaire blinked. "Transfer?" Beezy nodded rapidly. "Yes, sir." She said it quietly. "I wasn't even sure I heard right." Another boom shook the room. Dust rained from the ceiling. One guard yelled, "They're almost in." Billionaire held Beezy's face still. "What transfer? Did she say what kind?" "No, but she mentioned someone on a call. Someone helping her process papers tonight. And she said she just needed you to eat first. That once you." Beezy stopped, throat tightening. She remembered the sinister tone, the excitement in F's whisper, the trembling of her hand as she stirred poison into the pepper soup. Billionaire swallowed hard. "She was going to kill me before I sign anything." "Yes, sir." He stepped back, mind racing. The guard nearest him spoke urgently. "Sir, if your wife gets you to sign anything before these men are caught, it could mean control of your assets, your companies." "Or worse," another guard added, "she may have already filed something." Billionaire's jaw locked. Betrayal in marriage was painful. Domestic betrayal was humiliating. But this was cold, calculated financial and legal revenge. A plotted takeover. A strategy rooted in infidelity, manipulation, greed, and marital deceit. A cheating spouse was one thing. A cheating spouse trying to eliminate you and seize your empire? That was something else entirely. "Sir," a guard shouted from the door. "We lost a hinge." The door crashed inward slightly. A gloved hand reached through the crack, groping blindly. The guards shoved back. Billionaire grabbed Beezy's hand again. "We need to move. Now." "But the hallway." "Not the hallway," he said. "The vents." Beezy's eyes widened. "Sir, I can't fit in." "You're small enough. That's why you go first." "But what about you?" "I'll come after. Just move." He yanked open an overhead maintenance panel. A dusty metal duct loomed above, narrow but passable. The guards strained at the door again. Another violent boom. Beezy hesitated. Her hands shook too badly to grip the vent. "Beezy, look at me," Billionaire said. She looked. "You saved my life tonight," he said softly. "Now let me save yours." Her throat closed. Tears spilled. She nodded. With trembling hands, she climbed onto a stack of boxes and hoisted herself into the duct. The metal was hot and smelled like old wires and dust. The space was tight. She could barely lift her head. She crawled forward, metal echoing under her weight. Below, the guards roared as the attackers finally pushed the door open 2 feet. Chaos exploded. Gunfire. Shouts. Crashing. Beezy whimpered and crawled faster. "Keep moving." Damelaire yelled from behind. I'm right behind you. She pushed forward, ignoring the sting in her knees. The duct stretched long and dark, splitting in two directions. A crossroads. Beezy froze. Sir. It's a split. Left or right? Left, he answered. She turned left. But the duct dipped suddenly, and her palm slipped. She slid down the steep metal incline, scraping elbows and knees. She tried to stop herself, but momentum took over. Then, thud. She landed hard in another section of the duct. She gasped in pain. Beezy. Damelaire called from somewhere behind. Are you okay? I think so, she groaned. She scrambled to her knees, shaking. But then, she heard footsteps. Not Damelaire's. Soft. Calculated. Moving toward her from the other end of the duct. Her blood went cold. No, she whispered. A shadow appeared. One of the intruders had found another access point. Target located, the man said. Beezy screamed and scampered backward. The duct was too tight to run. Too tight to turn. Too tight to escape. The man crawled toward her, calm and efficient, like someone accustomed to killing in small spaces. Beezy hit a dead end, a sealed ventilation grid. Help! Sir, help me! She cried. The intruder closed in, reaching for her ankle. Then, bang! The grid behind her rattled violently. Someone was hitting it from the other side. Beezy! Move your head! Damelaire shouted. She ducked instantly, just as Damelaire's boot smashed through the grid. Metal flew. Light flooded in. Come out! Now! He yelled. Beezy crawled through the broken opening just as the intruder's gloved hand brushed her foot. She tumbled out onto a carpeted floor, a hallway lit by emergency red lights. Damelaire grabbed her and pulled her close. The intruder reached the hole. Damelaire slammed the grid shut and locked it with a nearby coat rod. They ran. Down the hallway. Around a corner. Into another corridor. Finally, they burst into a small office filled with dusty computers and old files. Beezy collapsed onto a chair, chest heaving. Damelaire locked the office door behind them. The guards were nowhere in sight. Muffled shouts and running footsteps echoed faintly from far-off corridors. They were alone. For the first time since the chaos started. Damelaire knelt in front of her, gently lifting her chin. Beezy, you must tell me everything. Every detail. You mentioned a transfer. What else? She wiped her tears. She also said something about tonight being the last chance. That if the papers weren't signed before midnight, she might lose everything. Damelaire inhaled sharply. Midnight. Sir, what does it mean? It means she set something in motion, something legally binding. And she was rushing to get me poisoned before I could read anything. He stood and paced. She must have forged documents. Maybe a will. Maybe a share transfer. Or property ownership. But why bring in killers? Beezy asked. Why send men after me? Because you heard her. And she panicked. You became a loose end. He stopped pacing. Then he whispered something she never expected to hear. And because you're the only witness who can destroy her plan. Beezy froze. The only witness. The intruders weren't just trying to stop her. They were trying to erase the only proof of F's scheme. Sir, what do we do now? She whispered. Damelaire ran a hand through his hair. We need to get to the security control room. If the cameras recorded anything, it could save us both. Where is it? Across the east wing. But we must be careful. They've cut power, the backup system might be running, but the hallways will be risky. A distant boom echoed through the building. Beezy flinched violently. Then, footsteps. Fast. Approaching. Damelaire grabbed her hand. Hide. He pushed her behind a tall file cabinet and moved silently toward the door. The footsteps grew louder. Someone jiggled the handle. Then, knock, knock, knock. Dare, a voice called. Soft, feminine, cold. Open the door. Beezy's stomach dropped. She was out. And she wasn't alone. We need to talk, F said in a smooth, chilling tone. It's about your little maid. Dammler didn't move. Didn't breathe. F's voice darkened. If you don't open this door right now, they will find her first. A pause. A terrifying pause. Then, she knows too much. You know that, right? Beezy covered her mouth to keep from crying out. F continued, voice dripping with venom. So tell me, Dare, do you really want to lose everything, because of a girl who doesn't even know her place? The doorknob turned again. Slowly. Deliberately. Open the door, F whispered. Before they tear this whole wing apart. Silence. Then footsteps faded. F was gone. Or pretending to be. Dammler exhaled shakily. He turned to Beezy. Get up, he whispered. We move now. Where? To the one place she thinks I'll never go. Where is that? He looked her dead in the eye. The master bedroom. Beezy blinked. But why? Because that's where F hid whatever she's been planning. But sir, it's the only way to get answers. He took her hand again. Come. As they slipped into the hallway, Beezy felt it again, that chilling, unnerving feeling. Like Dammler was protecting her too fiercely. Too intentionally. Too much. Almost as if she meant more to him than a maid ever should. The thought terrified her. Because if she meant that much to him, F would burn the world down to erase her. They reached the staircase. And the moment Dammler placed his foot on the first step, the mansion lights flickered back on. Bright. Sudden. Harsh. And standing at the top of the stairs, waiting for them with a smile, was F. Going somewhere? She asked sweetly. Don't move. F's voice sliced through the air, sharp as a razor. She stood at the top of the staircase, one hand resting lightly on the railing, the other behind her back, too casual to be innocent. Her smile was small, elegant, poisonous. Dammler immediately pulled Beezy behind him. F, he said carefully. Step aside. Why? She asked, tilting her head. So you can run around my house with your little pet? This girl has caused too much trouble already. Beezy stiffened behind him. Dammler's jaw clenched. This ends tonight. Oh Dare, she mocked. You keep saying that. Meanwhile your guards are scattered, your relatives are crying somewhere in the panic room, and the men looking for Beezy. She paused, then smiled wider. They're getting closer. Beezy's breath hitched. F slowly brought the hand behind her back forward, revealing a slim, black tablet. She waved it slightly. You were headed to the bedroom, yes? To find something? You won't find anything there. Not anymore. What is that? Dammler asked. Everything, she said. My leverage. My future. My freedom. And your end. She turned the tablet on, showing a digital document with Dammler's name signed at the bottom. A property transfer. Not just one house. Not just one company. Almost his entire empire. Beezy gasped. But Sir never signed anything. F's eyes glowed with triumph. You don't need to sign something when someone has perfected your signature, with the help of a very skilled professional. Dammler froze. Forgery. A full empire transfer. If she got this authenticated before midnight, he would lose everything. And if Beezy spoke up as a witness, F would lose everything. This was more than domestic betrayal. This was curated, precision-level sabotage. A cheating spouse turned calculated enemy. Dammler stepped onto the first stair. F. Hand it over. Come and take it, she dared. The lights flickered once. Footsteps echoed below, shadows moving. The intruders were coming up the back corridor. F heard them too, but her expression didn't change. The girl comes with me. She will stay quiet, one way or another. Beezy grabbed Damelaire's shirt. Sir, please, don't let her. You're not going anywhere, Damelaire said fiercely. F laughed softly. Look at you two, holding on to each other like you share some secret. What exactly is she to you, Dare? Her eyes darkened. A maid, or something more? Damelaire didn't answer, and that silence was all F needed. So it's true, she breathed. You actually care about her. Jealousy, hot, raw, ancient, flickered through her eyes. Then I definitely cannot let her live. She pressed a button on the tablet. A distant lock clicked somewhere in the mansion. Damelaire reacted instantly. She just locked the east wing. She's trying to trap us. Smart man, F cooed. Let's see how fast you can protect her. She turned and ran down the hallway. After her. Damelaire barked. He grabbed Beezy's hand and rushed upstairs, taking the steps two at a time. They sprinted down the corridor as F disappeared around a corner. But before they reached the turn, someone stepped out from the shadows. One of the intruders. He aimed directly at Beezy. Target reacquired. Beezy screamed. Damelaire shoved her through the nearest door, a guest bedroom, and slammed it shut. He dragged a heavy dresser against it as the intruder rammed the door violently. Beezy trembled uncontrollably. Sir, what do we do? He turned to her, eyes fierce. We split up. No, she cried. They want me. Exactly. And I need them following me, not you. He pulled a small key from his pocket. This leads to the attic passage. It connects to the old study. Hide there. Don't make a sound. But sir. Go. He smashed open the closet panel, revealing a narrow hidden stairway. Beezy hesitated only 1 second, then ran up the stairs, closing the wooden panel behind her. Below, the door burst open. The intruder stormed in. Where is she? Damelaire stood calmly in the center of the room. She's not here. He raised his hands a little, as if ready to fight. The intruder stepped closer. Then another shadow appeared in the doorway. A woman's silhouette. F. Kill him, she ordered quietly. Then find the girl. Beezy clutched her chest in the darkness above, tears streaming silently down her cheeks. She had escaped the room. But now, Damelaire was facing death because of her. Will Damelaire survive this confrontation? And will Beezy reach the study before F's men find her? Comment your prediction. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories and Stoner dramas. Finish him. F's voice echoed through the small guest bedroom like a thunderclap, cold and triumphant. The intruder lunged toward Damelaire, blade gleaming under the overhead light. The room felt too small for danger this large, too tight for both desperation and betrayal. Damelaire reacted on instinct. He grabbed the edge of the overturned chair beside him and swung it upward. The intruder blocked with his forearm, stumbling back a step but not losing his grip on the knife. His eyes remained fixed, calm, deadly, focused. F leaned against the destroyed doorway, arms crossed, enjoying the chaos like a front-row spectator at a show she directed. Oh Dare, she sighed. You used to be such a smart man. All this fuss for one little maid. Shut your mouth, he barked, swinging again. The intruder ducked and slammed his weight into Damelaire, shoving him hard against the wall. The force rattled the photo frames and knocked the breath out of him. Damelaire struggled, pushing back, grabbing the intruder's wrist as the blade came dangerously close to his throat. Up in the attic passage, Beezy heard the chaos. Every thud, every crash, every grunt of pain. She cupped her hands over her mouth, trying not to sob out loud. Please God, don't let him die, she whispered. She crawled toward the study exit, her only chance. The small wooden passage creaked under her weight, every sound echoing far too loudly in the dark. The shadows swallowed her whole, but she kept moving, driven by fear and guilt. Below, the fight intensified. The intruder pinned Damelaire to the floor, blade inches from his neck. F smirked. It's almost poetic. Everything ends tonight. Once you're gone, I'll submit the transfer. And Beezy, that foolish little rat you've been protecting, she'll disappear. Permanently. Rage flooded Damelaire's eyes. Not fear. Rage. He thrust his knee upward, slamming it into the intruder's ribs. The man gasped, grip loosening for half a second, just enough for Damelaire to twist free and roll across the floor. The knife clattered to the tiles. But F simply stepped forward, heels clicking. Do you think you can win, Dare? My people are everywhere. You're finished. Damelaire grabbed the broken chair leg and pointed it at the intruder. Come any closer, and I swear. Dare! A faint voice echoed from somewhere above. Beezy. F's smile disappeared like a light switching off. She's nearby. F hissed. Find her. The intruder sprinted toward the hallway. Damelaire lunged to stop him, but F blocked the doorway. Move, he roared. Make me. He shoved her aside. She stumbled, shock breaking across her face. That single moment of hesitation was all Damelaire needed. He charged out the corridor, chasing the intruder. Upstairs, Beezy reached the end of the attic passage. She pushed the exit door carefully. Erk! The old hinges screeched loudly. Too loudly. Down the hall, the intruder froze and looked up. There. He ran. Beezy's heart stopped. She yanked open the hatch and slid into the old study, landing on a dusty rug. The room was dark except for moonlight seeping through blinds. Bookshelves towered over her, shadows forming long, unsettling shapes. She ran to the far corner, searching for something, anything, to block the door. Her fingers shook violently as she dragged a small table toward the entrance. Footsteps thundered closer. She wasn't fast enough. Not nearly fast enough. Found you, the intruder's voice growled from the hallway. Beezy whimpered. He shoved the study door so hard it hit the wall, slamming the table aside like it weighed nothing. His huge frame filled the doorway. She screamed. He lunged. Stop! Damelaire slammed into him from behind. They both crashed into the bookshelf, sending books raining down like a storm. The intruder recovered quickly and threw a wild punch. Damelaire ducked, grabbed his collar, and rammed him into the opposite shelf. The man's head hit the wood with a sickening crack. He slumped. Damelaire didn't wait to see if he was unconscious. He grabbed Beezy by the arms. Are you hurt? She shook her head violently, trembling too hard to speak. He pulled her into a tight embrace. Too tight, too desperate. For a moment, despite the chaos, the danger, the betrayal, there was only the sound of Damelaire's heartbeat pounding against her ear. Thank God, he whispered. But the moment shattered when slow, mocking claps echoed from the doorway. F stood there. Her expression was frozen in a look of pure contempt. Oh, she said softly. Look at you two. Hiding together. Protecting each other. You've made this very easy for me. She lifted the tablet again, screen glowing. But it ends now. Damelaire put Beezy behind him instantly. F. Don't do anything stupid. Oh, I'm long past stupid. Her eyes narrowed. Hand her over. Now. Never. Then you choose her over everything you own? I choose justice. F's lip curled. Then justice will bury all of us. She pressed a button on the tablet. Somewhere deep in the mansion, a bomb-like alert sound blared. A countdown appeared on the tablet screen. Something was about to activate. Something dangerous. Something final. F gave them one last venomous smile. You have 5 minutes before everything resets. And by then, all evidence disappears. Beezy gasped. What evidence? F stared at her coldly. The evidence linking me to the poisoning. 5 minutes. Dare. F's mocking voice cut through the dusty study as the countdown on her tablet flashed 4:59, 4:58, 4:57. Each second beeped like a ticking bomb. She stepped backward, out of the doorway, smirking. You won't make it in time. And when the system resets, every camera feed, every recording, every file tying me to the poisoning, deleted forever. Billionaire charged toward her. But F slammed the door shut and locked it from outside. Dare. Beezy gasped. She's going to destroy the evidence. Billionaire rammed the door once. Twice. No movement. Forget the door, he said, breathing hard. We take the hidden route. He turned toward the wall near the old bookshelf, searching. Beezy blinked. Hidden route. Yes. My father built a backup passage linked to the east wing, straight to the security room. How do you open it? With this. He grabbed a dusty wooden sculpture, twisted its head. Click. Part of the wall popped open, revealing a narrow tunnel. Beezy swallowed. It's so dark. It's our only chance. The reset will erase everything. What exactly is the evidence? She asked as they moved into the tunnel. Billionaire's voice was low, urgent. If my suspicion is correct, the house cameras recorded F meeting with the poison supplier in the garden 2 nights ago. Beezy's eyes widened. You already suspected her? Not fully. But something felt wrong. Her late-night calls, her sudden interest in my schedule, the way she kept pushing me to eat at specific times. He paused. But I never imagined she'd go this far. They hurried down the cramped tunnel, ducking under cobwebs and exposed pipes. The countdown beeped again. 3:20, 3:19, 3:18. A gust of cold air hit them as they turned a corner. Ahead, the tunnel widened into a storage corridor behind the security wing. Beezy's legs shook. Sir, what if she sent someone here already? Then stay behind me. No matter what. He cracked the door open. Empty. They dashed into the main hallway leading to the security control room. But halfway there, a figure stepped out. Another intruder. Not the one from before. Taller. Broader. Cold eyes locked instantly onto Beezy. Target sighted. Billionaire shoved Beezy behind him. Run to the control room. Go. She hesitated. Now, Beezy. She ran. The intruder lunged after her. Billionaire tackled him sideways, slamming him against the wall. They struggled fiercely, fists and elbows flying. The intruder was stronger, heavier, faster. Beezy skidded to a halt at the end of the corridor, torn between fear and loyalty. Sir. Keep going. She forced her legs to move, breathing ragged as she reached the security room door. She pushed it open. Frozen. Inside, screens flickered. Security logs. Camera views. Backup servers. All running on emergency power. A digital clock on the wall synced with F's tablet. 2:10. 2:09. 2:08. She rushed to the console, searching desperately. Where is it? Where is it? Her fingers trembled as she tapped through folders and video logs. Behind her, footsteps approached. Her heart stopped. Sir, she whispered hopefully. No answer. She turned slowly. Billionaire stumbled in, bruised, blood at the corner of his lip, but alive. Lock the door. She slammed the metal bolt shut. He limped toward her. Find the night before the anniversary dinner. She clicked the date. Opened the garden camera. And there it was. F. In a red wrapper. In the dim light. Talking to a man holding a small white vial. Beezy gasped. We found it. Sir, we found. But the footage froze. Then began to flicker. Then flashed a warning. System reset in 60 seconds. Beezy screamed. It's deleting. Sir, What do we do? Damelaire grabbed the nearest external drive. Download it now. She clicked export. A loading bar appeared. 1%, 3%, 7%, 12%. The outside hallway boomed as someone slammed into the door. Damelaire grabbed a metal stool and braced it under the knob. Busy, faster. I'm trying. 27%, 38%, 51%. The pounding grew louder. F's voice echoed outside, furious and unhinged. Open this door right now. You hear me? Open it. The stool rattled. 67%, 74%, 81%. Almost there. Busy cried. A crack formed in the doorframe. F screamed. Break it. The intruders rammed the door again. The metal bent inward. 93%, 96%, 98%. Then, just as the door was about to cave, 100%. Download complete. Busy ripped out the drive. I have it. Damelaire grabbed her wrist. Then we run. Where? Anywhere except here. He kicked open the emergency exit in the corner of the room just as the main door burst inward behind them. F's furious scream chased them. Get them. They took everything from me. Busy and Damelaire vanished into the emergency stairwell. Now that they have the evidence, how will they escape F's wrath? And what happens when the whole family learns the truth? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for stories and Thursdona. Stop them. F's shrill voice echoed through the stairwell as Busy and Damelaire thundered down the concrete steps. Alarms blared throughout the mansion, red lights flashing like angry eyes. Busy clutched the small external drive to her chest as if it were a newborn child. Sir, where are we going? She panted. Out of the house, Damelaire said. Once we reach the compound, we'll head straight for the gate and get into the car. Footsteps pounded above them. Multiple men. They're gaining on us. Busy cried. Damelaire yanked her down another flight. Keep moving. Don't look back. The metal door at the bottom of the stairwell came into view. He slammed it open, and they burst out into the lawn at the back of the estate. Floodlights snapped on, washing the garden in white beams. Busy froze. This was the same garden where F had met the poison supplier. The same path captured on the video now in her hands. The night breeze carried the smell of wet grass and distant city smoke. Come on. Damelaire grabbed her wrist and pulled her across the garden toward the driveway. But halfway through, a shout ripped through the darkness. There they are. Two of F's paid intruders sprinted toward them from the left, cutting off their path. Busy's heart hammered. We're trapped. No, Damelaire said. Not yet. He swung Busy behind him and charged toward the right side of the compound, toward the row of private garages. The intruders gave chase. Busy's slippers slapped the ground as she struggled to keep up. Sir, your ankle, you're limping. I'll survive. Just stay close. They reached the garage doors. Damelaire lifted the latch of the nearest one and shoved it open. Inside sat a dusty old SUV his late father used to drive. Damelaire leaped into the driver's seat and turned the key. The engine coughed. Once. Twice. The sound of running footsteps grew louder behind them. Please start, please, Busy whispered. The engine roared to life. Get in. Damelaire barked. Busy hopped in, slamming the door just as the intruders reached the garage. Damelaire reversed with a violent jolt, sending the SUV flying backward. The tires screeched on the tiled floor. One of the intruders jumped aside, narrowly avoiding being crushed. They burst out into the open driveway. Pull the gate, the intruder yelled at the security guard stationed outside. The mansion's large metal gate began to close. Damelaire floored the accelerator. Sir, Busy screamed. We won't make it. The gate is almost shut. Yes. But we just need enough space. The SUV sped up, barreling toward the narrowing gap. The intruders behind them shouted in panic. Beezy squeezed her eyes shut. The SUV hurtled forward and shot through the gate with barely an inch to spare. The metal scraped the side mirror with a loud screech as they burst onto the silent midnight road. Beezy breathed in sharply. We made it. For now, Damelaire muttered. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Where are we going? To someone who can protect us, and make sure F can't spin any lies before we show the truth. Beezy blinked. Who? He hesitated. My mother. Beezy swallowed. She knew the woman only from whispers, respected, powerful, strict, a matriarch with connections everywhere. Damelaire continued, if anyone can help us expose F's poisoning plan and protect the evidence, it's her. Beezy nodded slowly. Then let's go. But halfway down the winding road, headlights flared behind them. A black sedan. Fast. Very fast. They're following us. Beezy cried. Damelaire's eyes hardened. F must have sent them. The sedan surged closer. Beezy gripped the dashboard. Sir, they're going to ram us. And they're going to fail. He swerved sharply onto a side street, tires screaming against the asphalt. The sedan followed. He took another turn, then another, weaving through the quiet night road. Streetlights flickered as they raced under them. The sedan refused to back off. Why won't they give up? Beezy whispered. Because F knows everything on that drive can destroy her. Not just socially, but legally. Attempted murder. Conspiracy. Fraud. Theft. It's over if this gets out. Beezy's hands trembled around the drive. I won't let them take it from me. A small smile tugged at the corner of his bruised lip. I know you won't. He suddenly jerked the wheel left and veered into a narrow alleyway. The sedan tried to follow, but got stuck briefly behind a pile of construction blocks. Damelaire accelerated, gaining precious distance. We have one chance to disappear, he said. Once we reach my mother's compound, they won't dare enter. But what if they get to her first? Beezy asked. They won't. I encrypted the old family emergency line. No one can track it. He pressed a button on the dashboard. A call connected. An elegant, commanding woman's voice answered instantly. Damelaire? Why are you calling me on this line at midnight? Damelaire swallowed. Mother. F tried to poison me. A long pause. Then a cold, razor-sharp reply. Come home. Now. And bring the evidence. Beezy shivered. This wasn't just a family matter anymore. It was war. And the final confrontation was coming. Bring them in. Damelaire's mother, Mama Feluccio, stood at the entrance of her quiet, sprawling compound, dignified in a rich indigo wrapper, her silver earrings catching the porch light. Her presence alone could freeze a grown man mid-step. Beezy felt her knees weaken as she and Damelaire stepped out of the SUV. Mama Feluccio's gaze swept over the bruises on her son's face, then stopped on Beezy, then on the small black drive clutched in her hand. Inside, she said. Now. Before they reach here. She didn't shout. She didn't need to. Authority sat naturally on her shoulders. Inside the large sitting room, she locked the door herself. Damelaire, she said, her voice cold as steel. Explain. Damelaire took a breath. Mother. F tried to poison me. Beezy saved my life. And we found evidence. She was working with someone. She planned everything. Mama Feluccio didn't blink. I suspected her long ago. The late nights. The sudden wealth. The disrespect. But poisoning. Her lips tightened. Show me. Beezy stepped forward slowly and held out the drive. Mama Feluccio looked at her fully for the first time. You're the maid. Yes, Ma, Beezy whispered. You protected my son? I did what anyone would do, Ma. Mama Feluccio shook her head. No. Not everyone would risk their life. She inserted the drive into her laptop. The moment the footage appeared, her jaw clenched. There was F in the garden, peering around nervously, accepting the vial, discussing timing and dosage. Mama Feluccio closed the laptop with a decisive snap. That's it. This ends tonight. Before Beezy could ask how, the compound gates rattled. 3 loud bangs. Then a familiar, furious voice. Open this gate right now. Beezy went pale. It's F. Damelaire moved toward the window, but his mother grabbed his wrist. Stop. Let me handle her. She walked outside calmly, without fear, and opened the pedestrian gate, but only halfway, forcing F to stand outside like an uninvited outsider. F's eyes were wild, her makeup smeared, her breathing sharp. Where is he? Mama Feluccio, tell your son to come outside now. Mama Feluccio looked her up and down, slowly. You look desperate. I'm not desperate. F snapped. I'm his wife. And I'm going to my husband. You're not going anywhere, Mama Feluccio said, voice steady. Especially not near my son. F pushed the gate, trying to force her way in, but Mama Feluccio didn't move. She stood solid as stone. Let me in. Mama Feluccio raised her hand gently. And behind her, 2 uniformed officers stepped forward from the shadows of the compound. F froze mid-scream. Police, she whispered. Mama Feluccio spoke calmly. You tried to murder my son. I have the footage. It has already been backed up to 3 locations. There is no escaping this. F staggered back. No. Dare wouldn't do this to me, he wouldn't. He knows I love him. Damelaire stepped out then, flanked by Beezy. F's eyes widened at the sight of her. You, she hissed. This servant, this nothing, she's the one manipulating you. Damelaire shook his head. You're the one who tried to kill me. Not her. You're lying. F screamed, pointing at Beezy. She's lying. She has always wanted to come between us. She's jealous. That's enough, Mama Feluccio said. The officers stepped forward. Madam F, one said, you are under arrest for attempted murder and conspiracy. No, wait, please. F dropped to her knees on the pavement. Mama Feluccio, please. I was angry, lost, confused. We can fix this. Don't do this to me, please. But Mama Feluccio looked at her, unblinking. Poisoning is not a mistake. It is a choice. F screamed as the officers lifted her to her feet. This isn't over. Dare. Damelaire turned away. The gate closed. Silence settled. Beezy swayed where she stood. The adrenaline, the fear, the running, it all settled in her bones at once. Mama Feluccio walked up to her. You are safe now, she said softly. Beezy's throat tightened. She whispered, Thank you, Ma. Mama Feluccio cupped her cheek gently. No, my dear. It is we who should thank you. Beezy burst into quiet tears. Inside the sitting room, Damelaire sank into a chair, exhausted. Beezy approached him. Sir, it's over. For now, he said. Then he looked at her. Really looked at her. Beezy, you changed my life. If you hadn't pushed that food away. I just knew something was wrong, she said timidly. And you trusted your instinct. He gave a small smile. That instinct saved me. Mama Feluccio stepped in then, interrupting softly. Damelaire. Yes, mother. You owe her your life. Treat her with respect from today. She is not just a maid. He nodded firmly. She hasn't been just a maid since the moment she saved me. Beezy's cheeks flushed. Outside, the last police lights faded into the night. Peace slowly returned. Justice had come, not through violence, but through truth. And as the quiet settled, Mama Feluccio spoke the final words. Let this be the lesson: betrayal poisons, but loyalty saves. Beezy wiped her tears. Damelaire held her gaze. And for the first time since everything began, she allowed herself to breathe. If you enjoyed this emotional journey of betrayal, resilience, and justice, please like, comment, and subscribe to Stories of a Stoner. Where are you watching from? And what lesson did this story teach you?